Now, Director Gabbard, I'd like to reground this in your core responsibilities. Under the law, you are responsible for providing national intelligence to the President, correct?
Yes.
And to the heads of executive branch departments and agencies, yes?
Yes.
And to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and senior military commanders?
Across the IC, yes.
And to the Senate and the House and relevant committees, correct?
Yes.
And the law states that the national intelligence you provide to Congress, quote, should be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations, correct?
Yes.
And you noted in your opening statement you're here fulfilling a statutory responsibility and that your testimony, quote, represents the IC's assessment of threats,
That's right.
correct? That opening statement, as submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing, stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
That's right.
This is a major showdown, just exploded in the Senate. And it's calling into question everything we've been told about war with Iran. Senator Jon Ossoff just backed the Director of National Intelligence into a corner over a massive contradiction that the White House doesn't want to talk about. And wait until you see the director tries to dodge the ultimate yes or no question. And it gets incredibly heated. Let's watch this.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is
No, it is the job of intelligence community, right? You feed the president the information. Then the president will assess.
This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
Right.
You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume of information
it is precisely,
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing where, as you noted in your opening testimony, quote, you represent the IC's assessment of threats. You are here to represent the IC's assessment of threats.
Right.
That's a quote from your own opening statement.
Right.
And so my question is, as you're here to present the IC's assessment of threats, was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the
question. It is
question.
the nature of the imminent threat that the president has to make that determination based on a collection and volume of information and intelligence that he is provided with.
You're here to be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
Exactly what I'm doing.
No, you're evading a question because to
evading.
provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House.
During this high-stake worldwide threat hearing, DNI Tulsi Gabbard, the Department of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard admitted that something shocking, the U.S. intelligence community officially assesses that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by airstrike last summer. Not only that, but they confirm there has been no effort to rebuild it since. So if the threat was gone, why did the White House claim on March 1st that there was still an imminent nuclear threat. The math simply isn't adding up. Senator Ossoff just accused the Director of National Intelligence of choosing politics over the truth. If Iran nuclear program was truly destroyed, was the imminent threat accused used to launch a war just a total fabrication? Right? Right? The senator wouldn't let up. Repeatedly asking Gabbard, was it the IC's assessment or the intelligence community's assessment that an imminent threat existed? Yes or no? And instead of straight answer, Gabbard claimed only the president can decide what is imminent. Also fired back, reminding her that her job by law is to provide objective intelligence independent of political consideration. He literally called her out for evading the question because a candid response would directly contradict the White House narrative for going to war. This is a massive red flag. When our intelligence leader won't confirm the very reason we are a conflict, something is seriously wrong. What do you think? Is the intelligence community being used as a political tool, or is the White House seeing threats that experts aren't? Does Trump have his own vision of what's threat and what's not? Let's talk in the comment, and don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm out. Peace.